My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and you are fortunate enough to be here with me and Patty, our humble moderator, and Bob Kessing and Jeremy Covey from DocsCorp to look at something called CompareDocs. And that is our October. Is it really October, Patty? Can you verify that for me?
Almost November, Paul.
Almost November. Our October 2018 coffee pot webinar for this month. And in a minute, we'll introduce Bob and Jeremy and talk about CompareDocs. But without further ado, I am going to press all the right buttons, and I'm going to switch control over to Bob, and he's going to give us a little bit of information about him, maybe a little information about Jeremy. Maybe Jeremy's going to do that himself, and a little bit of information about DocsCorp. And then we're going to switch over to Jeremy and take a look. So Bob, you should be getting this presenter screen right about now. And if you'll share your screen, tell us all about yourself.
Okay. Let's do you see my screen?
I see a rocky shore with a lake.
Yeah, I want to show another screen. How about now?
There we go.
Okay, great.
Happy people that are comparing all sorts of documents and talking about what a wonderful job CompareDocs did doing that. Is that right?
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Paul.
Okay.
So again, my name is Bob Kessing. I'm a longtime technology sales guy that tries to be a nerd occasionally, especially when I have to put on my default IT director hat here at home. But it's my pleasure, as well as Jeremy Covey's, to talk a little bit about DocsCorp and CompareDocs. I will mention that Jeremy is a sales engineer based out in Bend, Oregon. He's going to be doing the demo. I'll let him talk more about himself. I'm going to give you folks a little bit of introduction into DocsCorp. So today, a couple slides on the company, a few more on CompareDocs. We'll turn the demo over to Jeremy and take questions along the way. So our company's been around for over 14 years. We've got thousands of customers across the world, but the one point I really like to make is that after all my years in different software companies, I really believe that DocsCorp has some of the best support folks in the industry, and we provide our support 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. We get compliments from all kinds of people. DocsCorp has 4 different products. We've got PDF Docs, which is an awesome solution for PDF editing, creation, and markup. It's got a binder feature that makes it easy for firms to save countless hours creating PDF binders. Clean Docs is our metadata removal and email recipient checking tool. It removes metadata sent from files sent from the desktop as well as mobile devices. And it also includes email recipient checking, which helps prevent users from sending emails to the wrong people. CompareDocs, which we'll focus on here shortly. And then we have Content Crawler, which is automated OCR and compression tool to help ensure that all your files in Worldox are full text searchable and manageable. And you can use it to do batch OCRing at the file system level as well. So we're going to jump right into CompareDocs. CompareDocs is very fast and accurate. It allows you to compare files directly from within Worldox. We don't use a viewer, which some of our competitors use. We'll learn more about that in a minute. Super simple to use. You can compare a variety of formats, so you can compare Word to Word, Word to PDF, PDF to PDF, Excel to Excel, PowerPoint to PowerPoint. We've got integrated OCR, which would OCR the scanned PDFs that you're comparing. Full support for track changes. We're going to show the desktop tool today, but we also have a cloud product as well that would work in Office 365, online, on the PC, or iPad, or the Mac. So from within Worldox, you're going to see the ability to, right-click and compare documents. You can save the results back into Worldox directly. You can also compare from Windows file system. You simply right-click on the document as one option. It opens up the comparison screen that you'll see here for the desktop. You can do one-to-many file comparison or just one-to-one. You can drag and drop the files directly into the UI that you see here. We also compare clipboard information, meaning that you can simply copy text from any source, paste it directly into either one of these little boxes. It automatically converts them to docx, and then you can compare from there. So there's three primary methods for comparison, especially when you look at Word documents. Microsoft has its own Word Compare. There are other products on the market that do comparison and involve conversion and viewers. And then our approach was a little bit different. We call it a native comparison. You'll hear more about it in a second and see it shortly. So within Word, you can do your track change comparison. So there's no redline opportunity there, and there's no Worldox integration without some sort of third-party add-on for native Word Compare. And then there can be issues regarding the comparison results, and sometimes they're difficult to understand. There's also a method that's been available for a long time from a few different vendors. That is, compare the files, bring them into the viewer, which involves a conversion. And whenever you convert to a viewer like that, what you're doing is you're flattening the content. So you're losing things such as some field codes and cross-references. And then from the viewer, if you were to export to like a Word document for track change purposes, you may have issues with those field codes and cross-references because they've been flattened, and they may not work very well when it is time to do a accept and reject in a track change environment. Our approach is different. So we've taken the approach that the comparison results would be rendered directly within native documents. So what you'll see shortly is a word-to-word compare that is shown as a word track change directly within Word, also a word-to-word compare that's shown directly as redline. We'll show some other comparisons as well, but what happens with this approach, there's fewer moving parts, fewer things that can go wrong, so it's faster and more accurate. So at this point, we're going to turn the demo over to Jeremy Covey, and Jeremy's going to show us exactly how this works.
Okay, thanks Bob. Let me go ahead and share out my screen here, just so everybody can see that. While I'm doing that, a little bit about me. I've been in the legal technology landscape for about 10 years now. Worked with a number of different vendors, and I've currently been with DocsCorp for about 2 years. So with that, I assume everyone can see my screen and is looking at Worldox.
Looks good, Jeremy.
Excellent. Thanks, Bob. So what I'd like to do is just give you a high-level overview of some of the functionality that Bob spoke about. And to do that, what we're going to do is run through a couple of different common workflows that we see people using right within Worldox. So we'll go in and jump in and do some comparisons so you can see the flexibility and functionality that CompareDocs provides with that tight integration into Worldox. So what I'll do to start that is I'll go ahead and select two different documents here. So an original version and a modified. So as I select those two documents, I can simply right-click, and you'll see in the list here that I can send those documents to be compared with CompareDocs. So what you'll see is I can take those two checked documents and pass those over to CompareDocs. So you'll see CompareDocs go ahead and launch on the screen, and that gives us that comparison window that Bob referenced in his slide, where you can see the original and the modified document windows up at the very top. If I need to switch those in any way, shape, or form, I can easily use those arrows there to switch between the two different documents. So in my case, if I have version 2 mistakenly in the original, I can go ahead and switch those around. If I need to grab a different document, you can see I can always go back to Worldocs through this open button as well. So I can do that. Bob also spoke about adding multiple modified documents to automate those comparisons. We can easily do that one-to-many comparison here by clicking the plus button and adding additional modified documents. I can also control my document output. So we have a choice between keeping this red line in a native Word format. I can also convert it to PDF, which is especially helpful as you share the results of your red line and want it to stay in a static report type. Oftentimes we see people pass off a Word red line and then the other party goes ahead and marks that red line up, thus creating frustration in the document review process. So to mitigate that, what we'll do here in this particular case is control the output by having the output be PDF format and side-to-side markup. So we'll see a nice side-to-side report on how these two documents have changed. So I can go ahead, once I've had these settings in place, I can go ahead and view as a new document. One thing you'll note that's very nice to have here in the compare button, I also have some nice little convenience options here, such as emailing right here, saving right back into Worldox, or printing. So automating a couple steps in the process there, that's going to save you some time. So what we'll do is we'll just take a look at the comparison, where I'll go ahead and gather the data from Worldox and go ahead and produce the red line result in PDF format for us. I just want to double check right now. Can everybody still see my screen? It seems like there's a little bit of a lag there. Can everybody see the red line right now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So as you can see on my screen, you have the PDF version of the red line markup. You'll see some insertions and deletions here in a side-by-side fashion, so you can easily see what's changed in the document. And you have that report in PDF format that you can send out so everyone can view the changes, but they won't introduce any of that confusion that I spoke about when the output is Word format. So that's one way to solve that problem and get a nice red line report in PDF format. So that's one workflow. So let's take a look at taking those two documents again, and having a little different behavior depending on how I want to work with this document. So again, I will select those two different documents. I will send them back to CompareDocs. I'll go ahead and launch that familiar screen that we've been seeing here for the document selection screen. And this time we can change the behavior of how we work with these documents. So again, I'm going to switch the original to modified. I'm going to keep the document output format this time in Word format. Now you'll see there's two different types of reports that you can get with this. One is that static red line report that's just going to show the insertion, deletions, moves, etc. in Word format, similar to what we saw in the PDF, although the view is a little bit different. But this time, if you want to give an output that allows the reviewer to evolve the document and work with the changes easily, what we can do is have a markup report with track changes. So this time, we'll see as we view the document, what will be produced is an actual Word document. Again, we're not using any third-party viewers here. You can see the changes here, and I can simply use Word's native track changes to accept or reject these changes and evolve the document in that way. So it makes it really easy to take two different versions, produce a report that's easily visible around the changes, but also give them functionality, again, that's powered right within Word. We don't need any third-party viewer to do that, and they can simply accept or reject the changes to evolve the document to the next version. So thus enabling an easier review process of this document. So that's another workflow that certainly will save you time and have some automation around a common workflow that you may see there. Now, one other piece that I'd like to show you, and this touches upon what Bob spoke about earlier, is our flexibility around file formats. So as he mentioned before, we can compare against a number of different file formats. In this particular situation, what I'd like to do is show you that flexibility around the multiple file formats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab an original document that's going to be in Word format. I'm going to grab a modified copy that's in PDF, and I'm going to go ahead now and send that back to CompareDocs. Again, right from within Worldox, where you're going to be living and breathing every day, just simple right-click functionality to go ahead and send those documents off. Oops, I forgot to unselect my other documents before, so I just want to make sure that I'm working with the correct documents here. It looks like I'm going to just go back and make sure that these other ones up here are unchecked. And now I have those two documents that I want to work with. I'll go ahead and send those back to CompareDocs. So we just get those two documents this time. And then we'll begin working with those multiple file formats. So the cool thing about this is that, one, as Bob spoke about before, if it is PDF file format, we do have some guesswork about, is this document something that's been scanned? Is it text searchable? Again, we take the guesswork out of all that by doing some determination right within the software. We have built-in OCR functionality to take care of that. That is the case, so you no longer have to guess, is this document ready to work with or not? We also have control over the output, so even though these documents are mixed in their file format, I can still control the output and still produce a document that's a Word document that has track changes that I can work and evolve this document to its next version. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what happens when we produce this document now in a Word format with track changes, even though I'm working with a PDF. So what it will do is it will gather the data. It will actually notify me in this case that there is some elements of this PDF that need OCRing. So I can go ahead and easily check that box, so it will go ahead and take care. And what it will do is it will scan the whole document from head to toe and determine what elements are text searchable and what aren't. Do that conversion for me, so it produces an OCR document that the comparison can actually work with, and load that up into our screen. So again, if you think about the number of steps that this would take for you to do in a manual workflow, first determining, is this PDF something that's text searchable? I have to go ahead and open it up and determine that and close it back down. And then I have to go back into Worldox, find that, convert it if need be, load it up into the CompareDocs screen, and then go select my documents. Here I'm automating all that. You saw it now grab the PDF, it OCR'd it. We have the two documents loaded up in the document selection screen, and it produces an output here of a Word document now with track changes. So I can just simply accept or reject those changes regardless of file format that I fed into CompareDocs. So pretty powerful example here of how you can work with multiple file formats. You can control the output. You're working within the normal applications that you live and breathe in every day, and using the normal tools to review the document and evolve the document till its final outcome. So hopefully that was a couple of pretty powerful examples of how you can work with Worldox and CompareDocs, showing their tight integration and the functionality that we can provide to help you with your document review process.
That's awesome, Jeremy. The workflows really make it all. Of course, the product is heads and shoulders above anything else that's out there, but it's those workflows, that ability to instantly zero in on what you want to do and get it done without having to jump through a million hoops. That's what people are looking for in Worldox. And then the quality of the comparison just makes it a home run, in my opinion. Patty, I think, is getting ready to unmute herself so that she can present some questions.
I do have one question. Jeremy, when comparing two versions of the same document, is it possible to save the red line as version 3 of that same document?
Yes, so you do have some save options upon once you produce the red line. So as you're saving into Worldox or saving off to whatever location you choose, you do have the ability to save it as a new document, save it as a version. There's a lot of functionality around the save features that we didn't get into today that allow you to still complete that workflow. And we have a number of pieces of documentation that we can provide that show that functionality. But the short answer is yes.
Awesome. Very good. And that's it, right, Patty? That's it for questions. I always say, if we don't have questions, we must be doing a pretty darn good job of explaining. And I told Patty while I was muted, Jeremy, that you do a very good job of concisely zeroing in on exactly what is important in this product. So I appreciate that. Bob, we're done with you, right? We're not coming
yes,
back
we
to
are.
you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take control back to my screen so that I can finish things up and make presenter and show my screen. Of course, it wouldn't be an Attorney Computer Systems webinar if we were not at the very end going to see how to get access to all of the exciting content that we have on our website. The way to do that is to go to Attorney Computer Systems with an emphasis on that last S in the word systems.com and click on videos. You can either hover and pick one, but I'm going to click on the word itself. And that takes me to a list of all 6 of the video titles that we have. Now, you, of course, know that we have this thing called the Coffee Pot Webinars because you are there right now. This is a live event, and again, unless you're watching this, you're here right now, so you know that. So are our virtual user group meetings. We have those, and actually they're coming up this coming Monday. They are almost always the last Monday of the month, except in situations like the coming 2 months where we have holidays making that improbable. We have one for Tabs 3, one for Practice Master, and one for Worldox, our 3 core products that we represent here at Attorney Computer Systems, and then, of course, our Coffee Pot webinars. We also have our eBites video series that Mary Jo does and our Paul and Mary Jo show. These are pre-recorded. They're not live events. Mary Jo records 3 eBites every month, one on Tabs, one on Practice Master, one on Worldox. These are short little 2 or 3 minute videos with something really cool that we can explain very quickly that we think you should know about. For bigger things, we have the Paul and Mary Jo show. We record one of these each month. I and Mary Jo will take a topic that requires a little bit more explanation, a little more depth, and we'll spend 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes on these. So we produce these 1 a month, these 3 a month, and then everything else that's live we put out 1 a month. So if you click on the more info for any of the events, if it's live, like the Coffee Pot webinars where I just clicked, you will find registration information at the top for the next live event. And oddly enough, we're bringing back Bob and Jeremy to talk about that other product that integrates or one of their other products that integrates so nicely with Worldox. It's PDF Docs. There will always be 2 links to register. They are identical, but some people don't like clicking on something that doesn't show them exactly where they're going. And then as you scroll down, you will find recorded versions of everything else we've ever done. This one obviously is what we're looking at right now, so it's currently in post-production, but as we scroll down a little further, we have recorded versions of everything. And when I say everything, we have somewhere between 800 and 1,000 videos on our website. We've been doing this for a long time. We've been pumping out content for a long time, and so there's a lot of neat stuff there for you to discover. If you're a browser, this is a great way to do it. If you're one that wants to zero in on a specific thing, like let's say, I don't know, PDF docs, you can simply type it here, hit enter, and you should get a list of all the events or videos that have that. Of course, this one particular one is an upcoming one because it's what's scheduled for next month. So there you have it. Everybody have a good rest of the day, good rest of the month, and we will see you next month. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.